Well, hello, everybody. This is Randy Baxter. I'm the president of Asset Positioning Services. I'm the author of a book called Approach, Plan, Succeed that teaches financial professionals how to add estate planning to their product and service portfolios. And I'm also the author of a little ebook called Family Tree Asset Positioning. And it's a sales process that we're going to be talking about today. And today I'm going to be talking about how you put things together. And what I've learned from all the licensees, some who are very productive and some who are really struggling, is those that see the process and have the time to do it correctly and make the effort to do it correctly, those licensees are prospering. And there's a lot of licensees that are struggling or not doing anything as far as production goes. But when I talk to them, I find out that they either don't understand the process, or they're skipping steps in the process, or don't have faith in the process. So today, I want to eliminate that if I can, for all the licensees, so that you'll see that there's an easy way to make all this happen. So to do that, I want to talk about building bridges, and the front end sale income is somewhere between $1,000 and $1,300 at a time, and that's okay. And if you do 4 or 5 of those a month, you might have $4,000 or $5,000 extra income. But if you do it correctly, you ought to have $5,000 or $10,000 or $15,000 or $20,000 extra income. And to do that, you have to learn to build the bridges in the correct order. And the topic of today's conversation is building bridges to the back end sale. And I don't mind telling you today. Today, this morning, and I like to work in the mornings. I like to get my sales done in the mornings. But we built bridges with clients over the summer, and I went to visit a client this morning, and because we had built the correct bridges, we did a $250,000 asset shield 10, because we needed a bonus in order to reimburse the client for liquidating their stocks, because they had some capital gains. They had about $22,000 in capital gains in order to take themselves out of risk. They were so what we did was we put $250,000 in the Asset Shield 10 and got a 10% bonus on it. That 10% bonus was $25,000, and that gave them back the money that they had to pay in taxes to take themselves out of risk. And at the same time, we set up another little account called an Asset Shield 5. And we did that because the way that product works. And you might want to talk to Mike Bemis about it, or you can talk to me about the Asset Shield 5, but it's just a little index annuity contract that after 5 years, you can keep putting money in it and never accumulate a new surrender fee. So we did a 250 and a 15, and then we took what was left, which was only about $450,000, I think, and put it in a MICA. Okay, so but it was easy to do because I had taken the time to build the proper bridges. So I just want you to learn and see what I do. I want you to learn and see what I know. And I want you to learn to implement what I know and what I do. So anyway, it's a process. And if you handle the process correctly, you're always going to have the income you need. Okay, so I made this little conveyor belt because all those little boxes are all the different annuities that you might want to sell, or all the different products that you might want to sell. So first thing I want you to know is, what is the logic behind building bridges in the sales process. And I just want you to think about a minute about all your suspects, okay? And I want you to imagine that your suspect, you're looking at them and they're waving at you, but they're on the other side of a raging river. And you've got to get them, you've either got to go across that river and get them, or you have to build a bridge over to them so they can walk across that bridge to get to you. And if you learn to master that process, you'll always have someone to sell something to. You'll always be moving a lot of product, but it won't be because you're representing the product. It'll be because you're engaged in the proper process. You know, we've already discussed the definition of a suspect, and most of you get it. Okay, some of you don't get it yet, but just remember that the definition of that suspect is someone who you think would benefit from a conversation with you about their estate plan. And I talk to licensees all the time that don't get that. They're so needy when it comes to, I got to make a sale, that they don't take time to engage in the process. So, and we've talked about it over and over and over. The definition of a suspect, and that suspect is on the other side of that river, and you've got to reach out to them and get them to come over to you, or you have to go over to them. And the easiest way to do it, is to realize that they would benefit from a conversation with you about their, THEIR, their current estate plan. So, and I thought maybe this puzzle might be a good illustration. If you want to convert that suspect to a prospect by identifying who might benefit from this vast knowledge that I have helped you obtain, and convert them into someone who agrees to talk to you about their estate plan on a favorable basis, you won't get any cancellations. You'll get delays maybe. But people want to talk to someone who can develop or expose what they might not know about their current plan. So if you get that message across to them, you have built that bridge. You haven't tried to sell them an annuity or a life insurance policy or an investment plan or a long-term care plan or Medicare or anything. You have just got them engaged in a conversation that you know more than they know about. So then we've already discussed the bridge to converting the prospect to a client. And the way to do that is to always use the go-to first interview. Always. It's called the family tree asset positioning process. I should have put a capital A in there. I just didn't see it yesterday. But anyway, use the agenda. And when I hand somebody the agenda, I'm building a bridge. I'm saying, this is what we're going to talk about. And they are thankful to know that they have an agenda to look at and to hold on to when the conversation's over. They know what we're going to talk about. The next bridge that you want to go over is when you pull out that confidential, they know that you're going to be gathering some data. most of the time I don't to be honest with you, I don't even use confidential a lot of times because I I I I use a piece of yellow legal pad. I'm that backward. I'm that primitive. My process is not primitive at all. And then I use the sales presentation. I the family tree. I let a couple of agents watch me yesterday draw a family tree in process, and while we were drawing the family tree, we found stepchildren, and uh, uh, we exposed the fact that inside an existing trust, the reason a certain name was missing is because they were bipolar. Uh, uh, the deeper I got into the family tree, the more I realized that these people need uh, my expertise, your expertise, and then because I've done the sales presentation so many times, the power phrases just fall out of my mouth, and they should be falling out of yours because people. One of the bridges that I build with people is that I want them to see that I care. I want them to see that I'm there to help, and I need them to know that. So so if you're going to use a process, you have to keep the goal in mind. Tony, I tried to make that look like a soccer net, and I'm not sure it does. But anyway, um, you need to know that when I do my sales presentation, because I explain it in reverse, that I'm building a bridge there to let them know that a trust is superior to a will in most cases. And I try to do it in a way that's intellectually absorbable. And I've kidded you all the time, tell you in Tennessee, I'm allowed to teach anything I want to as long as I don't take it above sixth grade. The That's the starting point. Now, some people may be more intellectual than that, but if you keep it simple, they will enjoy the conversation and they will be lighthearted about it. We had a guy laughing so hard yesterday, I thought he was going to choke to death. But but you want to make the process when they compare their estate plan to what you have to offer, it almost needs to be a no-brainer to move forward. And if you take the time to build that bridge, you will find it very, very easy to start making some pretty cool sales. So I don't mind asking people to buy an estate plan from me if I've built those bridges. So once you've taken the order for the estate plan, and that's a different conversation, or you've established the existence of an acceptable plan that the client can acknowledge to be the best route for them. And you know what? You all haven't heard me talk about selling a product yet, except taking the order for the estate plan. I take orders on estate plans because I know that I've taken the time to help this family. Once they have agreed, whether they say I want to stick with the plan I've got, that's great. Or I think we want to go with the plan that you're showing us. That's when you bring up the concept of proper funding. I didn't say try to cram an annuity down their throat. I didn't say try to move their business away from their stockbroker. I said introduce the idea of the proper funding of an estate plan. You do this by building a bridge to the back end sale. You do it right. If you do it right, there's a whole bunch of ways to do it wrong. But if you do it right, you have a superior opportunity to make that back end sale. And if I told you that today you're going to do something and make $1, and if you do it right tomorrow, you're going to make $5, wouldn't you want to be sure that you became a master of that conversion of the $1 to the $5? And what I'm telling you is, if you do something that you make $1,000, if you handle it right, it should be very, very easy for you to make 5,000 or 10,000 the next time you talk to those people. But only, and this is serious, only if you can see yourself doing it. If you can't see yourself doing it, or you don't think you deserve to do it, or you don't think you have that ability, then I promise you, you will not make that extra $5,000. And you sort of just have to believe in what you're doing. So that bridge looks pretty complicated, doesn't it? But it's the little things that you say to people that make that bridge strong. So how do you do it right? Well, so far, if you're going to build that bridge to the back end sale, you have to have done a few things correctly that the client sees as valuable. And that means you have to have drawn their family tree in a way that they understand it. You have to have discussed their current plan. You have to have identified any real estate that they own, especially if they have real estate in other states. You have to have identified their long-term care plans. That doesn't mean you sell them a long-term care policy. That means you have identified what their current plans are. It may be that they have no plan at all. The case I worked on yesterday, Dad inherited a whole bunch of money and married Mom, and Dad took his money when he inherited it, bought himself a long-term care plan, and Mom didn't have one. And that's what they told me. I didn't try to sell them anything. All I said is, well, we'll come back to that. You have to have had the income plan conversation, because you got to remember, you're throwing a whole bunch of ideas at these people, and every idea that you're throwing at them builds their trust in you. Unless you try to push product on them too quick. It's so important that you ease into the health status. So important that you use that power phrase. You don't have to answer these questions right now, but I'll become a better advisor if I understand your health situation. And remember, I'm looking for something there that they don't know I'm looking for. I'm looking for who's closer to the cliff. And the more information people give you on an intimate level, the more they trust you on the next conversation or the next topic. I've also got, you've also built a bridge when you get them to tell them about their ballpark assets. And that's a soft way to find out if they have enough money to do business with you, and if they have enough money to position correctly for the rest of their lives. And when you go into page 3 of the confidential, again, you're building a bridge. You've also confirmed the proper estate plan. and taking the order. You know, so what I'm about to say to you here allows you to take that $1 and turn it into $5. It allows you to take that $1,000, turn it into $5,000. Or take that $1,000 and turn it into 20 or 25. That couple I dealt with today, their estate plan cost $1,995. And so far, I've made a $12,000 commission and a $12,000 commission and a $8,000 commission and a $1,800 commission and a $4,000 commission and a $15,000 commission and a $700 commission and a $8,000 commission. Not all at once, but every Tuesday at 10 o'clock for 4 weeks. Because we built the bridges. And because I go in and show them the adjusted agenda each time. This is what we accomplished last time. This is what we're supposed to talk about today. Excuse me. That's not supposed to be there. There you go. To build that bridge correctly, you put yourself at a disadvantage if you try to deliver the estate plan the same day you set it up. Although with your software, you have that capability. And there's been many estate plans that I've set up because I thought the person was going to pass away in the next 24, 48, 96 hours. And I can deliver it right then. But you know, that's not the goal. That's why I want them to come back in the next week. It's because I'm building the process. And you know, I don't want to go wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. I want to go, I'd like to do business with you for the rest of your life. I'd like to do business with you for the rest of your life so much that I'll even give you my lifetime guarantee to do business with you. I'll stick with you. Now, that's not a product. It's a process. So, and I said this to the couple yesterday. They said, well, what do we need to do? And I said, well, you need to have a little pillow talk. So let's talk about what pillow talk is. Okay. Pillow talk is the discussion a couple has after your first interview, after they buy the estate plan, and after they acknowledge the fact that they've got real estate spread out all over the United States or in 2 different states, and that they acknowledge the fact that they don't have the proper long-term care funding if one of them gets sick. Maybe they do. I had to work with a client yesterday afternoon who fell and broke her face. She landed on her nose. Her face looked like a purple football. And she realized that she couldn't stay home anymore. And her son called me, and I said, he said, what do we do? And I said, well, first thing we need to do is call Allianz. She's got a long-term care policy. And he said, well, I didn't know that. And it pays $200 a day. And he said, I thought all we had was that annuity you sold her that pays for long-term care. And I said, no, we sold her $100,000 equity index contract that generates about $9,000 a year right now. But since she can't do 2 activities of daily living anymore, it's going to generate $18,000. That's about $1,500 a month. So we can send her to the best assisted living because she had already bought a long-term care policy and give her $1,500 a month spending money for her sundries and her hairdos and for her do her nails and those kind of things. And he loved it. But when mom and dad go home after buying their estate plan, they're going to have pillow talk. And I don't want them to think of me as Mr. Baxter. I want them to say, Randy's right. Or I want them to go in and say, Tony's right. Ed's right. Kim's right. Cynthia's right. We don't have the proper funding for the day when one of us goes down physically or gets sick. We have the money, but it's not set up correctly. We should listen to what Randy has to say. So, when I've done all the long-term care and the income and the sure things and the maybes and the gaps and the cliffs and the health analysis, and they've already purchased their estate plan, I have earned the right to say to them, you've done a pretty good job. When you come back in next week for me to deliver your estate plan, I have some ideas for you. But before I share them with you, I need to do a little research and I need to run some numbers. When you come in next week, do you want to see your numbers? Because, see, that's the sentence I say that converts the $1 into the $5. But it means nothing to them if I have not laid the groundwork properly. And when I wrote the Family Tree Asset Positioning Go-To First Interview, I laid that groundwork for them. And I also laid that groundwork for you. And, I get licensees that I tried to work this morning, and the licensee wanted to jump all over to what all their investments were. And I said, no, don't do that. Don't do that. You will lose the sale if you do that. Go back to what that person wants. And what that person wants is a conversation with you about their estate plan, because that's the primary promise that you made. If you don't make that primary promise, you can't introduce your unique mechanism, the process. That's what's unique about this. It's the process. If you do the process correctly, they understand your role. They understand why you're there and what you're doing. Because you built the bridges one at a time. And they're not afraid of you. They see you as an advisor. They trust you. And they understand why you're going through the process that you're going through. Hope that makes sense. Because this is what you're looking for. Pillow talk. When I told that couple yesterday that they needed to have some pillow talk, they looked at each other and laughed because they knew what I was talking about. And I know I've set the stage for that pillow talk when I say, and folks, some of you are skipping this step, and some of you are being happy with the $1 and not even trying to get the $5. But if you build the bridge by saying, you've done a good job with your assets, and you know what? Talking to you has made me realize that I do have some ideas to share with you. But I need to do some research. And I need to run some numbers for you. That I am telling them that when they go home, I'm going to do some work for them that they didn't expect me to do. That's going to take me a week to get done, which means that must be a lot of work. course, they don't realize that the only work I have to do is call Mike Bemis and tell him what information I have, and he does it for me and sends me the sends me the research and runs the numbers for me. You can run them yourself, or whoever your IMO is. If they're not smart enough or good enough to run those numbers for you, you need to find somebody that can. So, why would I put this picture of all these question marks? I'm trying to tell you what you need to say, when you need to say it, how you need to say it, and why it's important to say it the way I tell you to say it. And if you're changing that, check the deposits in your bank account. And if you're happy with the deposits in your bank account, say whatever you want to say. But if you want to increase the deposits in your bank account, try to implement what I'm trying to teach you. And it's right there in front of you. I have some ideas, but I need to do some research and I need to run some numbers. When we meet next week, would you like to see your numbers? But I can't say that to them when they first sit down. I have to draw the family tree. But even before I draw the family tree, I have to convince them to meet with me on a favorable basis. And before I can get them to meet with me on a favorable basis, I need to think that they would benefit from that conversation with me. That's how many bridges this process takes for you to have a $25,000 to $50,000 a month income. But it's a whole lot easier to have a $2,000 income. But if you want a bigger income, you build the proper bridges to get there. Your clients are going to agree. And here, I actually called them a client. Why? Because they bought the estate plan. They gave you the dollar. And now it's up to you to turn it into $5 or $20 or $50. And it's up to you to get that client to identify other people that they think would benefit from a conversation with you about their estate plan. So the bridge is not just crossing the river. The bridge is a complete circle that doesn't cost you any money. So, now's the time to prepare the information you got using the Retire Now software, if that's what you want to use. I love that software. That software, I've had people tell me that software, my sales presentation, that software works like magic. And you know what? I didn't write that software. I'm not smart enough. I just had to find someone who had something that fit what I wanted to do. But here's what I need you to do. I need you to go to randallbaxter.com. I need you to click on the button, FTAP Training. I need you to use the password, FTAP Courses. And I need you to go in and watch the video that Mike Bemis and I did months ago. And the title of that, when you go to FTAP Courses, you get to a table of contents. And then look down at the bottom of the left-hand side of all the different chapters, and you'll see one that's protected. How to best present the income gap and cliff solutions. And it's not a complicated software. It's not a complicated project, but I can do it in my head. I know that $1,000 gap is about a $240,000 sale. if it pays out at 5%. If they're a little bit older and it pays out at 6, it's closer to a $200,000 sale. And something that a licensee learned yesterday, if you use the right product, and it doesn't fit everybody, but that Emeritus contract that Mike Bemis can help you get if you want it. I love that contract for my elder people because it gives you a 40% bonus on the income side. So it makes $500,000 equivalent to a $700,000 payout, and will you don't have to wait a year like you do on some of the contracts. It will start to pay out after 30 days. And they'll issue up to age 85. And 85-year-old men and women, they may be fine today, but they might not be fine tomorrow. Now, that might not be true for the 65 or 70-year-old people, but an 85-year-old knows that that cliff's not far away. And that 83-year-old will know that whether that cliff is properly funded or not. And you will know whether they have the money or not if you do page 3 correctly, if you build that bridge. Once you've watched the video, I'd love to schedule an appointment with you to discuss what we're talking about. Some of you I've had the conversation with over and over and over, and some of you have not let it sink in yet, that you have been handed 4 magic beans that will grow this big old tall ivy tower for you. And it will grow quickly if you'll do it correctly. And you'll get better at it every time you do it. Sometimes when I'm talking to you licensees, my eyes are shut. I'm just sitting there, leaning back in my chair, and I'm just walking through the process because it's all written on the back of my eyelids. I've done it so many times. It should be on the back of your eyelids. You should be that good at it. Because if you get up and go to work in the morning and you only have to do one thing, and that's approach people and build bridges, get a hold of some good software. The software's not mine. If you want it, I'll introduce you to Mike Bemis. He wants, but Mike said something to me. He said, Randy, don't send me somebody that doesn't know how to spell annuities. I don't recommend him to everybody. You have to be ready. Some people are too green and they need to be developed a little bit. I'll help you get there. But some of you are so smart and so experienced that all you need is just a sprinkle of salt, and you're going to take off like a rocket. Some of you are afraid to take off like a rocket. Don't be. It's your choice, okay? You can do it wrong as many times as you want to, but once you do it right a couple times, you'll say, why did I ever try to do it wrong? So, the topic today is building bridges. You can't build a proper bridge to the back end sale if you're struggling with the bridge to the prospect conversion. You can't do it because you haven't earned it. And you don't have to earn it from me. You have to earn it from the client each and every time. If you try to build the bridge to the back end sale before you build the bridge to convert the suspect to the prospect, good luck. I want to know how you do it. I'll let you teach the class. Okay. So, and something I need you to be aware of, and I try to do this over and over and over for everybody. Start at the beginning. Move your client through the process. They don't know what the process is. You do. They won't know when you make a mistake. You should. Always make a primary promise. Those people don't care about you. They don't care about your life. They don't care whether you're successful or not. What they care about is what they're going to get from you. What the promise is that you're going to make to them. And that promise is, I think you would benefit from a conversation with me about your current estate plan. People who do usually learn something they weren't aware of. That's your primary promise. It's not, hey, I'm the best annuity salesman in the world, or hey, I need you to buy this from me so I can pay my bills. It's, I think you would benefit from a conversation with me about your estate plan. And your estate plan. I'm talking to you. Tony, you need to be speaking to your friends, their estate plan. People that are in the hospital or having a health change, they need to talk about their estate plan. People who are getting married or divorced or changing jobs, they need to talk, they're having an asset change. They need to talk about their estate plan. They need to think that you're doing it in a superior way. It needs to be intellectually easy to absorb. They need to come to the conclusion that it is a no-brainer, that they need to do business with you because you took the time to lead them through a conversation that they want to have with someone who knows how to do it right, who won't put pressure on them, and will guide them through the decision process. You've all seen The Wizard of Oz. And everybody tells Dorothy to follow Yellow Brick Road. The Family Tree Asset Positioning go-to first interview is the Yellow Brick Road. It will lead you to Oz if you want to go. So I'm trying, I'll teach your downline. It just depends on whatever you want to do. If your goal is to have a fleet of agents, then let's teach a fleet of agents. If your goal is just to pick up an extra $5,000 or $10,000 a month and be happy and not worry about the rest of the world, let's do that. Okay. I don't mind teaching you. I just want to encourage you to learn it while I'm here. I'll teach you in any way that you want to learn it. One of these days I'll be too old and too tired and I'll go, I'm sorry, I don't want to do that anymore. but right now I'm willing to teach you. And it works. So go to randallbaxter.com, look in the upper right-hand corner and make an appointment. I'll teach you what to know. I'll teach you what I do. You may not like it. You don't have to do it. I'm not holding the gun to your head. Ask about the training process. Ask about the coaching. Ask yourself, why not? Well, the only reason I can think about why not is you're already making enough money and you're fine and you're happy and you don't want to do it. And that's great. I'm happy for you. But I don't think that's why you pay me. And you're not paying me to teach me what you do. You're paying me for me to teach you what I do. And to be honest with you, I'm pretty good at it if you'll just absorb it. So anyway, Lisa, can you turn everybody on? Let them ask some questions if they want to ask some questions. It looks like there's a couple questions there somewhere. Anybody want to go first? We'll do. Looks like Tony, your state specific in Tennessee, total assets of less than 20, no probate required. Well, that's fine. That doesn't mean that they don't.
I was answering someone else's question.
Oh, okay, okay. My response to that is that doesn't mean that they wouldn't benefit from a conversation with you about estate planning.
They don't have
Um,
$25,000 of assets.
that's right. And Mike Carulis,
Yeah.
you say you're green. I say you're ripe. You're ready. And I'll help you in any way I can. All I need you to do is to go in there and schedule an appointment with me. Let's talk about where you are and see if I can help you take off in the direction you want to be in.
Okay, I'll do it.
And you know, I'll be honest with you, Mike. I know you don't know me from Adam, but I promise you, I've already made every mistake every one of you agents are going to make. I've already got the canceled checks. And I will share, I will do everything I can to keep you from making those mistakes. I'll be honest with you. It's fun for me. I don't know why it's fun, but when I see an agent change their life because of the things that I've been able to teach them, it makes me feel good, really good.
I'm glad it does. I'm glad it's fun for you because
yeah, you know, I just,
it's good
you
for
know,
all of us.
yeah, well, it is good for everybody. It's good for me. So, how about anybody else got anything to say out there? Feel free to ask any question you want.
I have one, Randy, Jennifer.
Okay. Hi, Jennifer.
So at what point do you have the conversation with them about their other advisor? So if we're talking to them about income and we're going to talk to them about an annuity, at what point do you talk to them about their current financial advisor?
Okay. I like to let them come to the conclusion that they've got the wrong advisor. And if I have to, I look at it. If they say, well, you know, I'm really happy with my advisor, I'd look at them and I'd go, well, why? And you know, I think I've got somewhere in one of the books that Mike Stranka gave me on how to fire the broker. But most of the time,
but I want to know at what point, because what I'm finding is that people are coming to me to talk about estate planning, which is great. But then I'm changing the conversation basically to income and retirement. And I realize it's part of the estate planning, but I'm not sure how to introduce the subject of the other advisor. So probably not in the initial conversation, right? But in the follow-up conversation, I'm just wondering how you do it.
Okay, well, here's how I do it. I go, hey, your advisor's got you underwritten for all these problems in your life with maybes and not sure things. And I can leave it right there because that's going to grow. And the next thing
is that in your first, I'm sorry, is that in your first, when are you saying that? In your first appointment?
I'm saying that, yeah, in the income analysis. When I talk about gaps and cliffs and sure things and maybes. And then when I go over to page 3 and I go down to their list of assets, I'll look at them. I'll go, is this the asset that you are planning on taking care of that cliff? And they'll go, yes. And I'm going to say, well, it's 100% at risk. And that's a maybe. Why don't we look at the numbers that would show you that you can take a much smaller amount of that money and guarantee that income and keep the rest of it in the market? You know, you don't have to totally eliminate the advisor. But what'll happen is a lot of times they eliminate themselves when they come in and try to block you, because what they do, what I do is I look at them and go, oh, they want you to keep all that money at risk. And I said, what happens if the market goes down at the same time your health goes down? Are they going to correct that and send you the money you need? You know, so I don't attack the broker.
Right. I know all that. Okay. So I understand you're not attacking, but are you saying all of this in your first initial appointment?
Yes,
or
absolutely.
where you're giving them the income and the report?
Okay. I'm planting the seed in the first thing, and I don't want to move their money until I get their estate plan right. And I want them to have that pillow talk, and I want them to realize that, hey, Randy's right. We're trying to fund this with a maybe, and we need to have a sure thing. I want that conversation. It will normally come from mom, or it will normally come from the healthiest of the two. Okay. So I don't worry too much about the other broker. He's Neanderthal, and I'm super advanced process, and it's true, and I'm very simple. And if they want to say, we want to see what the broker has to say, I'll look at them and I'll go, well, can you really trust them in the future if they haven't already done this? And today we finished off Vanguard. And what you're going to find is a lot of people, they say they've got brokers, but what they've got is a robot. And we've moved over $3 million away from Vanguard because Vanguard expects you as the investor to know what you're doing. And when you run into an investor who realizes that they maybe didn't know as much as they thought because they've got these gaps and these cliffs and these sure things and these maybes, I don't, Jennifer, I'll be honest with you, I don't hardly ever run into another broker that gives me any competition. Most of the time they get out of the way.
Well, I'm just having one right now, so that's why I'm asking.
Okay, well, tell me what brought it on.
What brought it on?
Yeah, what brought the conflict on? It's a battle.
Well, and I'm wondering if maybe it's because the guy has Parkinson's, and so that he's been with this guy forever. Like he's had this same guy for like 40 years or something. And so
and okay, so time out. If he has Parkinson's, does he not want to have his Parkinson's properly funded on a sure thing basis and not a maybe? And if the broker has done a good job with that, you're going to have a hard time. But if you ask the question, do you want to have your Parkinson's guaranteed with a sure thing and not a maybe, and your broker has kept you in the maybe, why has he done that? And then I just shut my mouth. And
well, I think it's going to be more for if he wants to make sure that his wife has retirement income, because he's got plenty for the amount of time that he probably has. He'll probably die with 2 years.
Okay, all right. So he wants to make sure that his wife has income, right? Is that what you said?
Well, that's what I'm trying to get him to understand. I don't think that's a concept he's ever even thought of.
So do you think he could understand the difference between a sure thing and a maybe?
He's struggling now, but yes, I'm trying.
Okay,
His wife it's the problem is she's a brand new wife.
Okay, I understand that. Okay, so
she gets it, but he's really struggling with it.
I would build the bridge, and I would say, because this is a battle, I don't have to fight with them. I need to fight after the pillow talk, and I need to say, I've got some ideas for you. I need to do some research. I need to run some numbers. When you come back in next week, would you like to see your numbers? Why would they not want to see their numbers, even if they're totally in love with their other broker? Why would they not want to see those numbers? And when you show them those numbers, if you've done your research correct, they will come to the conclusion that they are not getting the proper advice from their broker. That's how you fire them. Because if I have to let them know that broker's been selfish and that broker's had their own personal needs involved, I'll do that. But I don't have to do that if I say, I've got some ideas for you, but I'm going to do some research and run some numbers. Next time we meet, would you like to see your numbers? My numbers will be correct. Their numbers will be maybe.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way you eliminate a broker. And you don't have to eliminate him all at once. Right. I've been eliminating their broker for this morning a little bit every Tuesday at 10 o'clock, just a little bit at a time. Same way you eat an elephant. And that won't always work. Some people are so attached to their brokers that they're not even going to entertain the thought, even if you show them the yellow brick road. They're going to stick with their broker because they're just going to. But I don't have that problem. I don't want you to have that problem. If you set the stage right and build the bridge right, you won't have to go into the conflict. I hope that makes sense.
Well, and that's why I asked on today's, which, I did all those things. I just think he's so attached to his broker, and with him having Parkinson's, I think it's, really hard for him to let go.
Well, okay. That's all I know to say. I think of all people, if you'll be able to handle that, if you build the bridges correctly.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Now there's another question here I'm trying to read here. It says, for the power phrases, which one is the most current, the video in the randallbaxter.com FTAP section or the PDF you emailed on 10/9/23 FTAP 30-day fast track? The video has 28 power phrases and the PDF has 18 power phrases. The answer is both. You might not need all power phrases in any given presentation. Next time I talk, I may have 8 or 9 more. You have to know when to use the power phrase, and you have to understand what the goal is. So, I don't know the answer to that, except they're both correct. But if you want to expand on it a little bit, I'll try and help. But I don't know who it is. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay. Sounds like Joseph O'Mura.
Yes, that's
How
me
you doing,
here.
sir?
I turned my picture on as well as my
Okay.
voice.
Okay.
Okay, I'm taking this from what I'm hearing from people as well as my own personal what's happened to me personally in my life. And one of the things why I kind of like is in here basically. Okay, our family, we got a trust a while back, many years back, and we only put the apartment in the trust, okay, because it was paid off, we owned it, etc. We had the deed, everything. We put that in the trust, nothing else. Okay, dad died 2006, no problem. Mom was there to take care of my dad, right? 24 hours a day. And my sister and I came at certain times, to assist as well. But then 2016, it was mom's turn, right? And now there's nobody to take care of mom. And, at that time, we didn't have the money and stuff. And my sister had to quit her teaching position at the UH, etc. And I had just started with New York Life at that time in 2016. I started this career. And basically, for me, I didn't have to be there, right? But she lost her teaching position at the University of Hawaii. Because if you're not there and you're over 50 and you don't have tenure, you're gone. You're gone. That's it.
Okay.
And so basically, so there's a couple of issues in this. Okay, the first thing is when my mom got sick, we didn't even know anything about power of attorneys. Okay, so there was nothing of that. So we called our lawyer that gave us the trust, and my mom just got hit suddenly. So when she got hit, we panicked during the first 2 weeks. Finally, my cousins told us, call the lawyer. So we called the trust lawyer, came down, and he told us she needed to sign these papers. And I guess those were for power of attorney stuff. So we could handle the finances and the medical stuff. But she couldn't even sign her signature at that point. I mean, she was that gone already. She couldn't sign. So basically, the lawyer just kind of said, you know what, I'm not going to look at this, just have it signed. I don't care how it's signed, just have her sign it. And he left. And in a sense, he was giving us a hint that one of us forged it. So yeah, so anyway, that got settled. But now looking back over this thing again too, the headaches we went through because we had no power of attorney stuff. And then see, now I'm hearing other people telling me, just just casually at McDonald's, I always go there and talk to the seniors, right? They go, oh yeah, I got my house in the in the thing. And I said, oh, do you have anything else in there? And they're all telling me the same thing. A lot of guys only have their house. They've had that trust for like 10, 20 years, etc. And we found out that, and it's not just that, it's also the commercials here that a lot of people have gotten, the trust with just their house in there, and that was it. And that they need to have it looked over. So now getting to us here, okay, do we need, because they have the trust, do we cancel that trust out, or do we do a restatement of that trust? And then do we have to charge them the $19.98.95 for that, or whatever the price we decide to charge them, the retail price for the trust again, or the restatement? Or what if they only needed the power of attorneys? Do we charge them for that? How's that all work together?
Okay. All right. So let's slow down a minute. Okay.
Okay.
First of all, I would have, when I was in that McDonald's, I'd look at everybody there. If I was talking to a group of them, I'd say, hey, you know what? I think every one of you all would benefit from a conversation with me about your current estate plan. But you got to remember that the product you're selling, Joe, is a lifetime license for an estate plan. It's not a power of attorney document. It includes a power of attorney, but everybody needs to understand what it is you're actually selling. And that is a lifetime license to make changes to their current estate plan using their login and their password for the rest of their lives. So if they just need a power of attorney, that's not the product you sell. Okay. And you don't want to try to be everything to all people. If somebody says they just need a power of attorney, I would look at them and go, well, to be honest with you, I think you would probably benefit from a conversation with me about your total estate plan first. And if that's all you need, I'll introduce you to an attorney, or I'll show you how to go in and get one on the internet. But that's not what I do. I do total estate plans, and I provide service for the rest of your life, and I provide the funding. So what that person is saying to you is, I'm going to take charge of this conversation and not let you have control. And when that happens, you don't get a sale.
Okay.
The other thing is when you find an existing estate plan, if they took it back to their attorney, the odds are their attorney would charge them a second time, or will charge them for the consultation, and still not give them a lifetime agreement. Now, this is important.
What do you mean by when you say lifetime agreement versus the lawyer's business?
You're selling a license. You need to go in and read your end user agreement on your website, your Family Estate Docs website. Go in and read the client end user agreement and look at what you're actually selling them. You're selling them a license that if they have an asset change or a health change or a relationship change for the next 20 or 30 years, they own the software and the power to go in and change it themselves without, and they'll have an attorney written document for the rest of their lives. And I'll be honest with you, everybody changes their estate plans. So the important thing for you to know is you're selling a product that has a lot of value to it, lifetime value, not just one time, one shot, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. That'll be $750. And next time you come back in, it'll be another $750. And next time you come back in, it'll be another $750. That's not what you're selling. You're selling a product for $1,995 that is a lifetime license agreement for them to have attorney written documents that can be changed anytime they want to change them. They can go in and change their power of attorney. They can go in and change their power of attorney for healthcare. They can go in and change their executor on their pour over will. They can go in and change the terms of their trust. They can rename their trustees anytime they want to. And I do see a lot of heavy discounting on sales. And I think you're just shooting yourself in the foot because you don't know what your product is. And for everybody listening today, you have to see the value in what you're offering to these people. You're not just offering them, you're not trying to, okay. Joe, in the absence of value, everything boils down to price.
Okay.
So, okay. So if there's no value in having a lifetime agreement, then somebody's going to want to go out there and pay $75 for a power of attorney on LegalZoom. Okay. It's not an easy document to do, and they have to pay a $33 a month fee if they're going to keep that LegalZoom agreement. And they're not going to get any true advice on it, and they're not going to know if it's done right. And the next time they want to change it, they're going to have to pay the fee again. That's not what you're selling. You're selling financial services that includes estate plans. Does that make sense?
Yeah. The other thing is, what about restatements? I was listening to
Okay. Well, a restatement is just, the reason you do a restatement is if you have an existing trust and you want to change the terms of the trust, you do a restatement. And that meant to do that, you go into your software and put in the exact same name as the old trust and the exact start date of the old trust. And then you just restate the whole trust. And that way you don't have to move the deeds in and out of anything. You don't have to transfer deeds. You don't have to do anything like that. Most of the restatements that I see coming through are at $14.95. But if you'll just take the time to explain to the client that you'll do the restatement for them, and that this price includes lifetime service using their login and their password for as long as they live, and that all of a sudden that $19.95 is very, very inexpensive.
Okay.
Okay, so please understand that you're selling a Cadillac product at already a cut price at $19.95, but you have the power to lower the price if you want to. If you're out there discounting the price on that product, I think you're throwing some money away. But you know, if someone challenges your price, tell them what it is you're selling them. And then if you still need to discount it, that's fine. But please have faith in the price and value of the product. It's not artificial. It's true, and it's lifetime. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So for all of these, then restatements, all from scratch, we always start with the family tree, drawing the circles.
Always.
Always. Yeah.
Yes, because the trust that they might have done, their family tree might have changed.
Okay. Got it. I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Derek, you want to ask a question there, sir?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can, sir. I think everybody can. Go ahead.
Oh, okay, fantastic. Let me lower my hand here. Thank you. Great presentation. I really appreciate it. Second time me being on it. I think I'm 12 days in here. So I'm learning a lot, trying to absorb it all and record it all and note it. I do have a question, and maybe a little bit ahead of myself, but you mentioned something and it just raised up in me. So I want to ask the question. So they have lifetime access to this. They can make changes and adjustments and all of that with their username and password. And I understand they also have a vault where other important documents can be and things of that nature. What happens when that person passes away and the family members don't have the username and password to get the updated documents? What happens at that point?
Call me. And I will go to the folks who did the software, and they'll dig it out for us. They'll want to prove that it. We'll need some proof that it's the right person getting it. But you're never left alone with Family Estate Docs or Estate Docs Pro. If you ever have a problem like that, we go in and we solve it. And we may have to talk to somebody to be sure that they're in there. We may say, what's your name? And are you a trustee, or are you, those kind of things, but we'll yank that information out. But,
okay.
And one thing, Derek, what you want to remember is that, you can sell the fact that the person has the lifetime advantage on their password and on their login, but you want to be the person that helps them get that done at least once a year. And the reason for that is because they're going to have relationship changes and asset changes and health changes. They're going to
Right.
inherit money. They're going to win the lottery. They're going to change jobs. They're going to get married. They're going to get divorced. They're going to, they're going to have grandchildren. I've got one lady that disowned all her children because she loves her grandchildren so much, and she just wants them to have everything.
Got it.
And the children were sort of surprised. But if I can get anything across to everyone, it's the value of these contracts, these attorney written contracts to each individual exists for the rest of their life. That's pretty valuable.
Yeah, no, I get it totally. I understand the value of it. I love the quote, in absence of value, everything comes down to price. So you nailed it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the only time that works when the absence value, everything boils down to prices when you go out and buy a bushel of corn. There's no difference in the corn, or if there is no difference in the corn, everybody's going to pick the lowest price. But they also get you. I tell people I add a lot of value to it because they get me for free. And I'm going to want to do, and I just keep building the bridge, because one of the bridges that we need to talk about one day is the bridge between grandpa and grandchild, and to show them, the products that bridge those gaps. Everybody got real quiet. I hope you understand what I'm saying there. But, you can't have that conversation with grandpa about the grandchildren if you haven't built the proper bridges. Who else is out there? Derek, I appreciate that question.
Randy, can I reply to that last one?
Of course.
On the passwords. So I do
Uh-huh.
a couple things with the passwords. First of all, I'm the one who resets the password when they first sign in. And I
Uh-huh.
talked about how important it is that we can both get into that account. And so I just use the address that you taught me to use. And
Right.
then when I send them, or I see them in person, the estate planning documents, the book, I have a congratulatory letter that I put in the very front. And one of the things that I have in that letter is the website, their username and their password. And it's the very first paper that is in that book. So whether they need it or their heirs need it, it is always the very first paper in that book. And that's what I do.
Cool. Okay. All right. So everybody on this call today's got something they can contribute, and all I can say to you is I call it the go-to first interview on purpose, and I have never seen it not turn into a long-term relationship. When I wanted it to. Now, there's been a couple of people I've been going, well, I don't think I want to talk to them anymore, but it's rare. But I don't think I've ever run into anybody that didn't want to talk to me again, because we built the proper bridges. I hope that makes sense. I hope you use that. Joe, your questions, anytime someone goes into all those details and all those problems, call time out and make your primary promise. I think you would benefit from a conversation with me about your estate plan. It's the magic words. If you're good enough to have that conversation with them, which is what I want you to learn. Anything else? I'll stay here until you quit asking questions, and then I'm gonna hang up and take my shoes off and rest a while. So you got me. Fire away. I still would like to see, those of you who are out there listening, I'd still like to see your suspect list. Yeah, I can promise you I'll help you turn those suspects into prospects. I promise you I'll help you turn those prospects into clients. I promise you I'll help you turn $1 into 5. And I promise you I'll help you learn how to
Maybe this is Mike Rose. I got a question for you here.
okay, go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
So I've been doing roofing for about the last 20 years. I just, I do it. I'm licensed, a licensed agent here in Nebraska. And I'm at going through the daily the spoon feed training. And I have a lady who I've been working on her home. Her husband has Alzheimer's, and her next door neighbor lost her husband, and they are going through probate. And I suggested to her, or I brought it up in conversation, there are things that a person really ought to do, so I'm not really ready. I'm not comfortable, and she said, do you know somebody? I've been thinking about doing something with my estate. And I said, well, yeah, I know a couple people, one fellow is out of state, but he's probably one of the best in the country. And she's like, well, can you help me with that? Get me his name. And I don't know how I forgot this. This just happened last Friday. And I'm really not, I don't feel like I'm ready to sit in there and talk to her myself.
Okay, Mike, anytime you want to set up a Zoom call, and introduce me to them,
Okay.
I will let you lead the conversation, and if you'll let me interrupt where I think I need to, we'll close them.
Or
Don't worry
Randy, I'll
about
be
it.
glad to help.
I'm
He's
sorry.
here. He's right here. I'll be glad to help.
Yeah. Mike, meet Jennifer. Jennifer Fishburne. She's one of our most knowledgeable licensees, and you all are in the same community, and she'll help you, or I'll help you, either way. I think it'd be a smart idea for you to work with Jennifer, because she's pretty good.
Terrific.
But I'm pretty good too. But she's right there in your neighborhood.
You
Jennifer,
can just
are you in Omaha?
Yeah, I'm in Omaha. Randy, you can just give him my information. All right.
Okay. All right. I'll send you both at the same time your joint information. You all can develop whatever relationship you want. But Mike, don't feel like you're out there. And let me give you one other little tidbit, Mike.
Okay.
You only have to be one step ahead of your prospect. You don't have to know everything. You just have to know the next step. So in your situation, your next step with that person is, hey, I think you'd benefit from a conversation with me about your estate plan. Once she agrees to that, then you got to know what the next step is. And that means at that point, that's when you have to put that agenda together. I'll help you do that. And then we'll follow that agenda, and you won't have to memorize anything. And I'll be there to help you, or Jennifer will be there to help you. Jennifer's a closer. I'm a closer. All I would ask you to do is listen to either one of us, and we'll start writing business. My problem is I've got too much business I can write, and I don't have enough of me to do that.
Well, that's a good problem.
Well, it is a good problem. And it's called momentum. And you build your momentum gradually, and it will become a snowball. And you'll have to learn to manage it, because it'll make too many demands on your time. And then you get to a point where you only want to talk to the people with millions of dollars. That's a good problem to have. But don't leave everybody behind, because you got to remember the people that helped you get started.
Right.
So you're right where you need to be. You're taking your lessons. You're talking to people. You're gonna mess up every once in a while, but the more you follow what I say, the better you get. That's why I was talking to you about 30 minutes ago when I said, hey, sometimes I'm talking to people with my eyes shut. They don't know it if I'm on the phone, but it's because everything that I do is ingrained on the back of my eyelids, and I can just shut them, and I know exactly what I'm saying, exactly what I'm doing, and I know what effect it has. And it's the same thing that I say the same thing to everybody until we start getting into the details, and the details start with the family tree. But use Jennifer, use me, use us both. Okay, what else we got out there? Y'all don't know how close I am to a nap. You better get me before I say goodbye and tune out. And let me tell you why I want to take a nap. I already did today what I'm trying to teach you to do. And I had to drive an hour, had to leave at 8 to be where I needed to go. And I went in and moved $500,000 and then drove home and ate a bowl of soup and got ready for this class. And there's nobody here to stop me from taking a nap. I don't have to, I'm not stressed out about income, not stressed out about what I need to do. I know when I wake up, there'll be more to do. And that's the way I like it. And if you're not there, let me help you get there if you want to be there. But maybe you just have to get old like me, and sometimes you need a nap at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I don't know. But anyway, let me help you if I can.
I have another last question.
Yes, sir.
Like to sell insurance, we need liability insurance. To do stock market brokers, you need to do liability insurance. To do this business, do we need to have an X amount of like liability insurance, or our life insurance liability stuff is enough?
In your errors and omissions insurance, you're covered if you give bad beneficiary information. You're covered if you give bad product information, and everything that we do leads you up to products and beneficiaries. So as long as you're honest, you don't have to have E&O to do this, but you need E&O to turn the $1 into $5.
Okay, is it recommended though, or because
what do you mean recommended?
this E&O thing for estate planning?
Your E&O for life insurance will include any estate, as long as you're not practicing law, and you got to remember that you're not practicing law unless you say you're an attorney and you try to write the document yourself. Then you're practicing law. You're not doing that. You've got lawyer written decision tree programming. And you're trying to talk to them about the importance of estate planning. And you're selling them a lifetime license of attorney written software that you didn't write.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Okay.
Randy,
Yes.
I have a question.
Okay.
So there's a long form and a short form, presentation rather, for the to talk about estate planning. So somebody that you've never spoken to before and you want to send them a video, would you suggest sending the short version or the long version?
Everybody likes the short versions.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
But you just have to, use your professional opinion. Okay. Just once you've opened the conversation, don't let it stop. Keep it going.
Okay.
And you'll find that you're having the same conversation. I've got family trees that been in my file for years, a couple years, and people don't realize that I'm looking at the family tree when I'm talking about it. They just think I'm really, really smart and have a good memory. So when you draw a family tree, you now have what I call inventory. And you're looking to see if it's changed. You're looking to see if they've got more grandchildren, or if they've got new daughters-in-law, or they've got new spouses, or they've got, you're just looking for those changes. Changes mean income. Changes mean opportunity for additional income. Relationship changes, health changes, asset changes. What else we got out there? Anything? I'm about to sign off. All right. Bye, everybody. See you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Randy.
Bye.
Okay.
Thank you, Randall.
It
Alrighty.
was awesome, as
Good.
always.
Well, good. See you later.
Bye-bye.